up, all my dorks, nerds, geeks, and gamers? It's your host, Ghost here, and you're watching a brand new episode of Dorks 10 Movie Minute. Today we're going to continue on with our Marvel What If episode coverage. We're going to be looking at episodes 8 and episode 9. Starting with episode 8, entitled What If Ultron Won? This is a story focusing on Natasha and Clint as they are trying to stop the birth of Ultron, because Ultron has now gotten all the Infinity Stones. And it is explained through the storyline of the Avengers Age of Ultron that this version of Ultron is the Vision who did finish his upload from Ultron and did get the perfect body, who then went after the stones because Thanos came to the planet. He then ended up cutting Thanos in half and taking the stones there. So that's how that version of Ultron got the stones. And this episode's kind of his rise to power and about Natasha and Clint, who are trying to stop him. Who are searching for Armin Zola, the program from the Winter Soldier movies, to make a virus that can infect Ultron and maybe have Armin Zola take over and destroy the Ultron virus within the suit itself. So it's a very convoluted plot. There's a lot going on top of this being the setup of the season finale. So there is a lot of setup for the next episode as well going into this. But I do have to say, with everything on the plate, everything that's happening and everything that's going on with the cliffhanger episode of last time, with Ultron coming in at the end of Party Thor and kind of destroying that universe, or at least starting to destroy that universe. We catch up on that later on the next episode. But it's very fun, very cool episode. You get really a lot of action scenes between Clint and Natasha. This version of Clint only has one arm, which is actually really cool as well, because we don't really see that version of Clint yet in the MCU. So yeah, they are basically trying to find Armin Zola. The Watcher wants to help, but he can't. He ends up helping a little bit, which then leads to them trying to stop Ultron. They end up failing. Ultron ends up destroying Natasha and Hawkeye's universe. In that universe, Hawkeye ends up dying. Natasha ends up staying alive to join the Multiversal Avengers team that gets started at the end of this episode. We end off with Ultron realizing the Watcher is there and realizing that there is a wider multiverse. Not only just multiverse, but he destroys the whole Marvel universe that he comes from, including Asgard, Sakaar, and all these other planets that these Marvel universe consists of. He's already destroyed those. So then he sets his eyes on the multiverse. He realizes that the Watcher is there and that he can interact with them. He ends up having a fight with the Watcher. They end up going through multiverses. The Watcher gets beat up a little bit. The Watcher ends up using his armor, which is actually really cool to see. He's like, oh, you don't know my powers, and he goes into his armor mode, and they fight again. The Watcher ends up losing, and he kind of leaves Ultron to himself because he needs to find a way to stop him. So the Watcher ends up going to Dark Doctor Strange's universe from episode 4, if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands. And he convinces that Doctor Strange that, hey, we need to build a team, and this is the only way we can stop Ultron is if I intervene. If I don't, then everything's going to be destroyed in the process. So very strong episode, What If Ultron Had Won? I give this one a 9 out of 10. It's a very solid episode, and it does move the plot forward in a cohesive setting. It's not like a one-off. It's kind of a part 2 of a 3-part kind of story they're telling. So that leads right into episode 9, excuse me. The very last episode of the season, which is what if the Watcher had intervened, or what if the Watcher broke his oath. That is the way they put it in the episode title. But this one basically starts out with Captain Carter from episode 1, and it's actually the Watcher kind of going through and recruiting all these members. We get T'Challa as Star-Lord as a member. We get Gamora as a member from the Sakaar episode. We also get Killmonger on the team, which ties into the finale of this whole episode later. We get all these very strange different versions of Avengers characters we already know, and the Watcher pulls them in and he makes this team that he calls the Guardians of the Multiverse. So that is the official new Avengers team that travels the multiverse and takes down multiversal threats and saves every universe from multiversal destruction or whatever that cause. But this basically picks up where they're all trying to stop Ultron. They all team up. They all have a plan. A lot of action scenes, a lot of banter. This feels very much like an Avengers movie does, with the totally different team members bouncing off each other with ideas and personality types. The action scenes are very cool. Everyone has a very cool combo move. There's this awesome move with Party Thor where he throws his hammer in the air and then Doctor Strange multiplies it into multiple Mjolnirs. So there's like 100 Mjolnirs flying around Ultron, hitting him in different directions. Very awesome. Another cool scene was Natasha grabbing Cap's shield, and then Captain Carter using her shield, and they're both kind of going at different angles, throwing the shield at him back and forth. Very reminiscent of Bucky and Cap in a Civil War scene with them versus Iron Man. So a lot of cool nods like that. There was also a nod last episode I forgot to mention to Galactus, which is a big setup as well that could lead to future things down the line, multiversal wise. But yeah, a lot of cool action scenes, a lot of Ultron fighting. They're bickering back and forth. The team doesn't know how to work well together. Eventually they do. They get these combo moves. They end up starting to win. They do end up taking the Power Stone from him. T'Challa ends up getting the Power Stone from him. And their plan is to just retreat. But they can't retreat because Ultron's so powerful. He's literally holding on to them. Like, he's taking on everyone while still trying to hold on to his power that he has. So it's kind of a stalemate and no one's going either way. We then cut to they do win. They have a plan. They have Armin Zola. They find the arrow that Armin Zola's virus is in that Hawkeye left behind when he died. Natasha does end up finding it. They end up shooting it into Ultron, and Armin Zola does kill the Ultron hive mind that's inside of Ultron, thus taking over the Ultron body. We then, at that ending though, we think that it's all over. We then get Killmonger, who then goes up and takes the Infinity Stones for himself, who then the team does not agree with, and they end up fighting Killmonger, which they end up getting, the stones end up getting separated from both gauntlets. They're kind of stuck in the middle, and that's when Doctor Strange decides, you know, this is my time to pull the stones out. No one's using them, no one's attached to them, and destroy them so they can never be used again. He does that, thus saving the multiverse. But yet having this multiversal team of Avengers still there in the multiverse around and being able to go active whenever they need to. That's a very cool setting as well. But the main setup for the series that blew my mind the most was that Black Widow is back in our Marvel Cinematic Universe. She is back, she is alive, she has returned. It is not our Natasha, but this is the Natasha that destroyed Ultron at the end of Marvel's What If. She is now canon into our Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it is very cool to have Natasha back in some form or fighting spirit. But like I said, it's a very different Natasha than what we got, kind of like the Gamora we got now. So it's going to be very cool to see her return in future live-action movies and series, playing a different version of Black Widow if they bring back Scarlett Johansson to do that. So very excited to see that and how that plays with her, and even Yelena Belova and how she would respond to the fake or the imposter Black Widow, I'm going to call her. But yeah, very cool storyline, nice setup, and I did not expect the payoff into the MCU with the Black Widow reveal that they showed off at the end. So that's why I give this one a 9 out of 10, or a 10 out of 10 episode, 9 out of 10 for episode 8, 10 out of 10 for episode 9. Very strong into the series. I enjoyed both these episodes very much. They felt very much standalone episodes. These are basically what If is all about in these last two episodes. And they paid them off with a grandiose fashion and a big boss battle style way. And I'm very excited to see where they take season 2, because we do get a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end of the last episode with Peggy Carter finding the Hydra Stomper that was left behind in World War II, and supposedly Steve Rogers may be inside that Hydra Stomper, frozen in time just like he was as Captain America. So it'll be very exciting to see where they take season 2 and what storylines they want to tell there. But other than that, a very great series. Overall, I give the series an 8 out of 10. There was a few weak episodes, but overall the episodes are very strong. And very unique in their tone and the style of story they wanted to tell. But that's just my opinion, guys. Let me know down below what you guys thought of these last 2 Marvel What If episodes. Do you enjoy them or not? Make sure you like, subscribe, or share. And as always, guys, keep it right here on Dorkston. I've been your host, Ghost. Adios.